Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cavletics, an inside look into the athletics department here at Bossier Parish Community College. I'm your host, Charlie Cavell. We've got a great show for you today because we're talking basketball, specifically Bipsy Cavalier basketball with head coach Chris Lovell. Chris, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Oh, excited to be here, Charlie, always.
Well, it's basketball season. You've started practicing. You're entering your fourth year as the Bipsy head basketball coach, and every year your teams have improved. Can you tell us where your program is now in relation to where it was when you got here?
Well, we've come a long way. I think for us, year one was about establishing culture, trying to put Bipsy basketball back on the map. And I think in the last 2 years we've been able to do that. Obviously last year being able to achieve our first national ranking in over, 20 years, I think was quite an accomplishment for us. And it's allowed us to not only build a winning culture and to win more basketball games every year, but it's allowed us to recruit a deeper team this year than we've ever had before.
What were some of the things that you knew had to be changed or fixed right away in order to be able to compete on the level of, NJCA Region 14, which we all know is a grind?
Yeah, it's a tough conference. There's no doubt about it. I think, one, it starts with the kind of individuals you recruit and being able to have the structure in place here at the school through the athletic department and through the academics here at the school, helps us get kids because Bipsy does a great job academically. If they graduate from here, they do really, really well at their four-year schools, and so that's really helped us. So getting everything just in sync, it wasn't that it wasn't there. We just had to kind of build it and put all the great pieces that we had together to make something that was attractive to a student athlete that the others in our conferences were able to get before I got here. And so now we're starting to get those student athletes, and that has raised not just the level of the individual we're getting, but the level of the play and of the team success moving forward.
The Cavaliers went from 10 wins to 17 in year one. And then in year two, from 17 to 19 wins last year, and garnered, as you mentioned, the program's first national ranking in over 2 decades. We can see the improvement, but has the program progressed the way you've wanted it to, at the speed, if you will, of what you wanted it to?
I think every year you kind of go back and you're like, gosh, we could have won those 4 games and we didn't. I thought we came up a little short last year with what we had set out to accomplish. I think we accomplished all of our goals except for 2, and we had like 6 team goals, and so that was a good year. I think we sent 6 kids to the Division I level. We were one of 4 JUCOs in the country to do that, and that was a huge accomplishment for us because it helps us recruit the next group in, and so we're getting there. Am I happy? Yeah, I'm happy with the progression. Could it be better? Do I expect more? Absolutely. And I think for me, no one's going to put more pressure on the program and myself than me, and I think that's a healthy thing for us moving forward.
Last year, you guided the Cavaliers to a 19-12 record, the most wins in nearly 2 decades. But knowing you like I do, I know, and you touched on it just a minute ago, I know you believe it could have been better.
There's no doubt. I think toward the end of the season, JUCO basketball is a long basketball season. We start in August, and we're not done until the end of March. And it's just a long grind. And I think, we were undefeated coming into January. The first 2 weeks of January, we were undefeated, ranked nationally. And I think we kind of relaxed a little bit. And maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just because we hadn't been there before. Maybe it's because our players took it for granted. I'm not sure. But I didn't feel like we overachieved on the back half of the season. And so that's been our goal this year, to recruit a team that's deep enough to survive. Because really last year we went about 6 guys deep on the rotation.
Yeah, and as you said, at the back half of the year, it did play a factor. Fatigue and just the grind of the level of competition that you play in Region 14. And I know the one thing that really kind of sticks in your craw is that all-elusive 20th win.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I mean, hopefully we set our team goals the other day. We always do that on October 1st, the first official day of practice in the NJCAA basketball season. And, one of the goals was to win 20-plus games, and it has been the last, 3 years. And so hopefully if we can get over that little marker, which if we're going to improve again, we're going to have to because we had 19 wins last year. So we are excited about the opportunity to do that, but we have a much tougher schedule this year. But I think we have a better team, and so I'm excited.
You and Eric Parrish were the Louisiana Association of Basketball Coaches Junior College Coach and Player of the Year. Quite an honor for you and Eric, because it's not the sports writers or the sports information directors that vote on this. It's your peers in the coaching profession in the state of Louisiana. And so I know, this is back-to-back years for you, the third straight year for a Cavalier. It had to mean a lot to you, again, personally.
Well, anytime you get recognized by your peers, it is a sign of appreciation for what we've done with the program. And that comes from the support we get here at Bipsy. It comes from the support of our athletic department. It comes from the support of Shreveport and Bossier City, the people who support us in the city. It comes from, a lot of people don't recognize this, but they're like almost, I think there's 12 or 13 Division I schools in the state of Louisiana. And the fact that those guys all voted for us lets us know that, hey, we not only appreciate what y'all are doing there, but we see what you're doing there.
Well, again, how you were honored for the second straight year. It's the third straight year that we've had a player. It was Lasani Johnson, Mubarak Muhammad, and last year Eric Parrish. And as I mentioned, the second straight year for you. From an outside perspective, how does this big a deal is that for a prospective player, or from the outside looking, hey, wow, they've produced three straight players, and the coach has been a coach of the year 2 times. That has to help the program overall.
It does. Any recognition we get is helpful, and especially as we've been rebuilding. And obviously, when the recruits go on the website, the first thing they see is coach of the year in the state of Louisiana, player of the year from the state of Louisiana in JUCO, and all of a sudden they're like, wow, they're producing guys, and that's what helps you get good players, and not just one good player, but it helps you get 11 or 12, and that's what we're excited about. So it's a notch on our belt, and we're thankful for all the accolades and success, but it only comes from the support of everyone else around, coaching staff and everyone involved.
Well, and speaking of Eric Parrish, he was one of the best players in Region 14 and one of the best players in program history, even though he was just here for a year. Eric signed with the University of Nevada, who's been a perennial top 20 team in the NCAA. Their coach, Eric Musselman, moved on, took the head coaching job at Arkansas. But having a player of Eric's caliber come through Bipsy, what does that do for Cavalier basketball?
Well, it's great. I mean, not only was he probably one of the best players in Region 14, but he was rated the number 3 JUCO player in the country last year. And so that's huge for us. The fact that Bossier Parish was able to recruit and to help in the development of a student athlete of Eric's stature and the skill set that he possesses only brings more attention and more spotlight to what we're trying to do here. And so it's huge for us, and we're so excited for him. I heard other day, Coach Alford, Steve Alford, that played in Indiana and used to be the coach at UCLA, is now at Nevada. He said Eric may be our best player on the team, and that doesn't surprise me at all. And if he can continue to improve over these next 2 years, I think he has a chance to be a pro.
Well, and doesn't that lay down a foundation to build that relationship and the connection between Bossier Parish Community College, your program, and bigger four-year schools at the Power 5 and below levels?
No doubt about it. In JUCO basketball, it's all about the relationships you have with the Division I schools. If they trust you and know that you're going to take care of them academically, that you're going to develop them in their skill set on the basketball court, and that you're going to build into them as a man and as their character, man, they want kids like that. And so, the fact that they trust us now and know that we can do that is a huge relationship builder. And it also is a big deal when it comes to recruiting other players to our school, because they go, man, they sent a kid to Nevada, a perennial top 10 program in NCAA basketball. Man, I should go to Bossier instead of maybe like a Trinity Valley or a Tyler. And we've never had that before.
Right. You've had a majority of your players from your 3 previous teams sign scholarships with 4-year universities. I think that plays into what I'm going to ask. Again, that's really important for you and your staff to be able to show those prospective players as you just talked about, that relationship. Hey, you come to Bipsy and we can get you to the next level.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's probably our biggest pitch. And that's any JUCO's biggest pitch when it comes to men's basketball is it's not just about how your team does in the season, but it's about if you're, getting your guys to the next level and how they're doing at the next level. And the fact that we sent 6 kids to Division I is just unheard of. We sent 7 total to 4-year schools on full ride scholarships, but 6 of them went Division I. And so that was exciting. And I think for us, it just helps us. And I think it's reflected in the roster we have today because of what we did last year and because of the success of the guys that are moving on and playing at Louisiana Monroe and Prairie View A&M and Louisiana Tech and other places. Because of that success, now the roster we have today is because of that. And so we're so excited about this year too.
Well, we'll talk about the 2019-2020 Cavaliers in just a moment after we take this brief time out. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back following the break.
If you're into basketball for fun and fitness, or would like to be, heeding a few hints can help you up your game. First, when shooting, square up to the basket with both feet pointing at it. Make sure your power is coming from your legs, not your arms, and remember to follow through on your shot. Next, for your passes to be more than passable, don't throw directly at the players you want to catch them. Throw to where those players will be, so no one has to slow down to catch the pass. When your teammates have the ball, create passing lanes so they can hit you with the pass. Use your hands to create targets. Don't watch the ball when you dribble it. Keep your head up. Also, try to learn to dribble with either hand. When playing defense, know where your opponents are. When a shot goes up, face the basket while boxing the closest opponent out. That way, even if you don't catch the rebound, perhaps a teammate will.
Type 1 diabetes can be living in anyone. It comes in all shapes, sizes, different colors, forms.
Type 1 diabetes is when your pancreas doesn't produce insulin. It's not caused by your diet. It's not caused by anything you did.
Type 1 diabetes can be very serious.
I ended up in the hospital for some 2 weeks.
My biggest fear for myself is losing my vision.
My biggest fear of T1D today, this disease, will probably be what kills me.
It's not always predictable.
It's constant worry to be in charge of my daughter's health. I go in multiple times to make sure she's still breathing and that her heartbeat is still there.
It just never gives you a second off, really.
It is hard, but with friends, family pushing me every day to be strong, that's what helps me get along.
I do have a lot of highs and a lot of lows. It's not easy to explain. It's not easy to just take out my meter and check my sugar in front of everyone. And
I think my biggest accomplishment is probably getting used to all the shots and finger sticks.
Prick my finger a lot. I prick my finger every time I check my blood, and that's over 8-10 times a day.
And it's an everyday thing that we have to do to live in the world and survive.
It is so frustrating that there are so many misconceptions about T1D, and people think that it's not a constant struggle, but it is.
My biggest dream definitely is to find a cure.
My dream for T1D is to have no diabetes when I go to college.
There will be a cure for this. I don't know that I believed that when I was first diagnosed, and I think we're close. We just need to keep that momentum going.
Learn more about type 1 diabetes.
Help JDRF find a cure.
T1D looks like me.
T1D looks like me.
T1D looks like me.
Welcome back to Cavletics. I'm Charlie Cavell, and we're visiting with Bipsy Cavaliers head men's basketball coach Chris Lovell. Well, Chris, let's just dive right into it. The 2019-2020 season, boy, it takes a while for me to say that. It's upon us. I mean, practice has started. You scrimmage tomorrow. In November 1st, everything is for real. You return only one player and one starter off of last year's team, and that is point guard E.J. Clark. It's the second straight year that you've had to fill out a whole new roster and a whole new starting 5, in this case 4. But, you pulled it off last year, but how big a concern is that for you?
Not really. I think everyone in JUCO basketball is doing the same thing. I mean, it's hard to win with freshmen in our league, and so you have to go out and get Division I transfers, get JUCO transfers, prep school kids, because it's just so hard to win with true freshmen. I think we only have like 2 true freshmen on our entire roster of 15 guys, and so I'm not concerned about it. I think all these guys are up for the task, and they're all here for a reason. We all know why we're here, and I really like what I've seen so far.
How hard is it to develop team chemistry in such a short period of time when you only have one returning player and the rest are new guys from all different walks of life, all different parts of the country or internationally? It's got to be a little stressful to try to develop that team chemistry in such a short period.
No, it is. I think that's what makes JUCO basketball so tough, is that you're almost coaching an entirely new team every year. The more returners you have, the easier it is. At a 4-year school, for instance, you would return probably 75% of your roster every year. We only have to sign 3 or 4 guys, where we're having to sign 10, 11 guys a year. And so it is difficult. I am concerned about it a little bit, but the good news is that championships aren't won in November, they're won in March, and that gives us time to build that chemistry and for those guys to learn what I expect and what we're trying to do as a team and as a program, and so far I like what I see.
Tell us a little bit about that one returner, E.J. Clark. He's your point guard, and what E.J. brings to your ball club.
E.J. Clark is a fantastic human being. He goes to class. He's a 3.5 GPA kid in the classroom. He never complains. You know what you're going to get from him every night. And last year he didn't have a bad season. I mean, he averaged right at 9 points a game. I think he averaged less than 1 turnover a game, which is remarkable for a point guard. He's probably the fastest little dude I've ever coached in my life. But on top of all that, I just know what I'm going to get out of him every night. And I expect him to be really, really strong early for us as we bring the new guys along and provide leadership, and he knows what we're walking into when it comes to our conference, where all these other guys, while they've played at some good levels and from some other places, they haven't played in our conference, which we all know our conference is a totally different beast.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm way off base, but EJ, in my opinion, brought a calm to a position in the point guard, which over the previous 2 seasons had a lot of instability. He brought calmness and stability despite being a freshman.
No, he's steady. I mean, that's what I mean. You always know you can count on EJ. If he has a bad night, but if he has a bad night shooting, he's definitely not going to turn it over. And if he has a great night shooting, he's still not going to turn it over. And so I think, the things that win you basketball games are the guys you can count on when the times get tough and all that. And the fact that we've got a point guard that's been here a year, knows how to push pace, picks up people 94 feet and guards every game, and doesn't turn the ball over, and that's winning basketball. And so, we're excited about him. He's a winning player, and we're excited about his future as well.
Well, tell us about the rest of your newcomers. I was
Wow.
going to say some, but tell us about everybody else, because they're all newcomers.
I hope I don't miss anyone. When you get into this
I should have brought a checklist.
I could have sat here and looked at it. When you get into this part of it, it's like, gosh, I hope I don't forget anyone. But we've got a really deep roster. The greatest thing about this group, the way we recruited, is we said we want to get deeper, we want to get longer, and we want to be more athletic. And we did all that.
Let me stop you for just a second before we go on to the rest of the guys. That was a big concern, particularly as we talked about a little earlier in the first segment, was about the depth. You had a core of 6 players, and you found out that while those 6 players were really good, everybody else had 9 and 10 guys, and that depth played a factor down the stretch.
It does, because on any given night, if you're only playing 6 guys, and let's say 3 of them have a bad night, and they're just, it happens, right? What we found out is the other teams had 9 or 10 guys, and so they just cycled those guys through till they found 5 that could get it done on that night, where we were just stuck with our 6. And so on the nights where we had guys didn't have good nights, it was hard for us to win. And so we went out and recruited a deeper team game so that we can match up with everything we're going to face and survive the brutal conference schedule that we have in the dregs of January and February heading into the conference tournament.
All right, so back to the newcomers, guys like Abraham and Willie and Bam and Isaiah and Charlie and so you tell us about them.
Great guys. Well, let's just start with the guards, and I'll work my way down. We brought in a slew of point guards, and we did it on purpose. Just what we just said about EJ, how important that point guard position is. We felt like we needed more guys that could handle the ball on this team, and so we've got a kid, Isaiah Sulak, who's a 6'6". He plays the 1, the 2, and the 3. Can really shoot it. Came from Olney Central. He averaged, 12 points a game last year as a true freshman, which isn't easy to do. They beat the number 1 team in the country last year, and I think he had 23 points in that game. And so he's a shooter, ball handler, and he's 6'6". We brought in Aaron Gregg, who started every game as a freshman at McLennan JUCO, really respected JUCO in Region 5. Great leader. And then we brought in Paul King, who's a high school kid from right down the road in Monroe from Ouachita High School, who's just a dog. He guards, he runs the team, he can really score it in bunches, and we love his energy. One of the only true freshmen we brought on the team. And then, you kind of go down the list, and we brought in a ton of bigs. Willie LaPoole from Monroe, 6'9", Division I transfer from Southeastern Louisiana, is as talented as anyone we have. Diamante Brown, who we call Bam, is probably the most athletic kid I've ever coached. The other day he caught a rebound. I think his head was above the rim when he dunked it home. I mean, we all just kind of shut down practice for a minute, But he's got some special sauce to him, and he's from Lincoln Memorial, one of the top D2 programs in the country, and so he's a transfer. And then we went out and got Alan Lang, who's from Weber State, Division I transfer there, and Abraham Muka Mator, who's from University of Illinois Chicago, is a 7-footer. I mean, and then so just on and on and on. We're just kind of loaded up with size and length and athleticism. Charlie Cochran's a 6'6" 3-point shooter, and Josh Davis. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that can really, really play. And the thing that excites me the most is that all these guys play multiple positions. They're not, okay, you can only play the 2 or you can only play the 5. These guys can play 3 or 4 different positions on the floor, which makes us very, very versatile and very, very hard to guard. Very, very excited about this team and the potential of them.
I know we only have a few minutes remaining, but you brought in all these guys. Tell us about the style of play that you like to play. I know it's generally a fast-paced, up-tempo, quick transition defense, that type of style.
Junior college basketball is a fast game anyway, and so we do like to play fast. We want to score in transition when we can, but this year I think we're going to try to, pump that ball inside early on in the game so that it opens up our outside game. Another kid I forgot to mention was Alan Hatchett, who came from South Carolina State. He's probably one of the best players on our team, and so we think we're going to be able to push that ball, get it inside. If it's not there, kick it out for open looks. And I think we should be a really, really good defensive team as well with our athleticism and with our length. And so we're very, very excited, and we're chomping at the bit to get down to Dallas tomorrow in scrimmage.
Well, okay, we're there.
Okay.
Real quick, give me your starting 5.
Oh, gosh, I don't know because we've got some injuries right now. But
Okay.
for tomorrow, we'll probably start E.J. Clark at the 1. We'll probably start Willie LaPoole at the 3. Probably start Alan Hatchett at the 2, and then probably Bam at the 4 and Alan Lang at the 5. If I had to go right this second.
There you go. Coach Level and the Cavaliers will play a 3-way scrimmage on Tuesday, October 22nd, right here at the Coach Billy Montgomery Gymnasium. Their first home game of the season is on November 7th against Mountain View College. For the rest of the schedule and to check out the roster, visit BipsyAthletics.com for all your information on Cavaliers athletics. Chris, thank you for taking the time to visit with us today.
Absolutely.
I know you have a busy schedule. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for visiting with us on Cavletics today. Join us again next Friday as we bring you the latest on Bossier Parish Community College Cavalier Athletics. I'm Charlie Cavell bidding you a good sports day.